I have spent a lot of time on the internet. A lot. I played Neopets, I used AOL chat rooms, I had level 99 woodcutting in RuneScape. I remember Table 54 and Lonely Girl 15. I made custom HTML for my friends' MySpace pages. Hell, I've even played Second Life. In that time, I've met a lot of great people. But just by sheer probability alone, I've met perverts, nutjobs, scam artists, racists, and overall just dickheads who have nothing worthwhile in their life and take that pain out in some way on others through ye old wilds of the net. But only one stands out that I have had any personal beef with, one that just couldn't walk away, one whose very ego seems to teeter on the amount of harm they can inflict on others. Meet Beth Gibbons. Beth Gibbons is a self-proclaimed housewife and stay-at-home mother who runs a totally not drama channel.
Hi there, my name is Beth, or Queen of Spade, and I just want to have some fun. I just want to throw some spades at the humbots, Hopefully make a community and be sure to share my videos with all of your friends.
She likes to boast helps her assist victims of abuse, scams, cults, and MLMs. From time to time, she'll focus on family channel type content.
Hey guys, I'm sorry that I'm late on here. Kids stuff, I found this game and I wanted to try it. So my daughter is having a break right now because we have to do stuff later and she's going to get really tired. And so I'm letting her have a little break and I got bored. No! Why did you redo it?
Because I wanted to.
We wanted to go to the next one, you silly Billy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, now we gotta do this one all over again, even though we won. Oh, Hannah. Okay.
Hannah. I want to do it.
Hannah, if you're not gonna be good, I gotta turn this off. Remember?
Yay.
You can play the game, but you gotta be nice. You can't get like that. I am so sitting here, and I am waiting 2 minutes. I don't think I've ever been more excited for a live stream in all my life. Sorry, actually, no, I'm not fucking sorry at all. What am I talking about? And so I'm going to be sitting here, my kid just went for a nap finally. She took over my student video, and now I can have some fun.
Or promote her husband, who began his channel King of Stream to defend his wife against haters. Real stream news, bells of nevermore, and sue yourself. He can be found in her comments section on her community tab and on her videos. Send a bunch of heart emojis and talk about when they should have sex next, because that's totally normal. I don't really care. Beth has shown a pattern of behavior online, one that is cruel, dangerous, and honestly nothing like I've ever seen before. This graph by the professor is a meme and shouldn't be taken too seriously at face value, but I submit if you reach out to any of the people listed within it, you'll find a similar experience with the self-proclaimed Queen of Spade. It is a satirical take on the several people Beth has started beef with, ranging from people who hate each other, to people who are different religions, to people who don't know each other because they've never even heard of the community in which they hail. I, being an outsider to almost all of these groups, Beth has attempted to infiltrate, and one of the few exceptions. I happened upon Beth on Twitter accusing someone of murder without evidence. I also have, in time, become friends with several people on the list, or at least acquaintances, but that does not make them my community. Beth's modus operandi is very simple. She enters the online community focusing on one aspect of that community, someone they are collectively against, a goal of theirs, a person that they are honoring, etc. She then proceeds to act more and more wildly until she eventually is met with some sort of logical criticism because she's gone too far, made some outlandish claim, or where she expects the group to defend her against inevitably someone they have either barely or never heard of. It's at this time that Beth is met with resistance that she will turn on the community, and she'll go to publicizing lies, threats, doxes, and overall just nasty behavior online for all to see. Go ahead, ask anyone on the page of their experience. You'll hear more or less the same, with only a few details changing along the way. When covering the increasingly degenerate actions of YouTuber Queen of Spade, the issue has always been a matter of covering the content in a way that is functional. Chronology is difficult because she produces so much bullshit in any 24-hour period. Originally, years back, I intended to do it by victim card alone, but then her attacks became even more severe. I could go on about certain behaviors, but undoubtedly she'll cite some mental health issue as an excuse. In time, it has become apparent that the only way to give a good scope of the happenings of Beth while simultaneously covering the more severe cases is by one means, and one that Beth is very familiar with: the B.I.T.E model. The B.I.T.E model is an outline written by Dr. Stephen Hassan to identify cult-like behavior in various forms, using 4 different categories to identify certain behaviors that the cult leader will either exude or expect from people within their community. The B in B.I.T.E model stands for behavior control, the I for information control, the T for thought control, and lastly E for emotional control. The Oxford Dictionary describes a cult as a system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. It goes further to describe a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. It further outlines that it could be a misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. And I want to take a look at this one specifically. And it gives an example. It says, a cult of personality surrounding the leaders. It is my personal belief that Beth likes to work within the second definition, and that her ultimate goal is to create a cult of personality around herself, though sometimes she does, in fact, prefer to go and try to be a right-hand man to someone she considers a cult leader. You can see it in the time she's gone place to place, idolizing the leader, Negs, Realstream News, DC Media Girl, French Fried Girl, Cece Suarez, name them, any of them, really, right? But then, the moment they disagree with her, she calls them a cult. Which is very convenient for someone who supposedly runs a cult channel to somehow, some way, always end up in something they can call cult. I submit that Beth's obsession with cults is in itself sinister, and that she isn't trying to fight cults so much as belong to one or even lead one. And I would like to show you a couple of examples that may or may not prove this. I'm going to go ahead and note here that I'm not going to make any distinction between Beth speaking to her audience or her haters. For one thing, this is because a lot of the time she's speaking on public platforms, or what she has said is now common knowledge. And I think that distorts the meaning of when you're speaking to an individual. She's not just speaking to her haters when she makes comments, she is speaking to a larger audience. That's why she goes on such rants about being such a victim, even though the person she's speaking to knows what she's saying is not true. Another thing is she's a bit of a flip-flop. One week she'll absolutely adore a YouTube creator, Negs for example, and then some months down the line she'll be accusing him of murdering his child. There's also something to be completely honest about here, and that's that Beth proclaims to understand the B.I.T.E model and to even go as far as to watch people and see if they fit the B.I.T.E model and then call them a cult later. If that's the case, then it's completely possible that she's intentionally distorting things so that she can say, oh no, I was speaking to a hater, therefore I am not endorsing cult mentality. However, I don't think it matters. Censorship is censorship, threats are threats, etc. And again, this is a distinction you'll have to decide for yourself if it matters or not. For me, it does not. I believe that behavior control is one of Beth's biggest hurdles in attempting to be a cult leader. After all, how can she, for instance, regulate an individual's physical reality on a virtual space? However, I do think she tries, and she does so by the use of falsehoods. She will say things that are not true about her own life, but not only that, she also speaks ill and misrepresents other people's lives, including my own. I find especially interesting dictate where, how, and with whom the person lives or isolates. And the thing about this is so many of Beth's issues with other people are fundamentally rooted in the fact that they were talking to, streaming with, hanging out with someone she does not like, and it comes up over and over and over again.
It just doesn't look good from my perspective, though, when I'm watching all that and everybody's getting along over there and they all coming at me, blaming me for everything. Just saying.
She does not like when people leave the sphere that makes her most comfortable. When it comes down to determining when, how, and with whom a person is allowed to have sex, it's kind of weird because you would think that this is just a no-go. But yet, Beth is so focused on sex that several times has she said, so-and-so and so-and-so should be together. Similarly, she'll say who people shouldn't be with for whatever reason. Of course, she thinks that as the purveyor of all, she gets judgment when no one gives a fuck about her opinion. For time's sake, more than anything else, I want to go ahead and skip down to 9. Major time spent with group indoctrination and rituals and or self-indoctrination, including the internet. And while I wouldn't say it's as obvious as some others, I want to go ahead and point out how Beth has over 800 videos on her YouTube page. She frequently does all-nighters in which for days on end she will post and post and post in her community tab at all hours of the day. Long spiels every few minutes. And yet, if anyone ever asks her a question, and you'll see this, just wait around, watch, someone will ask her a question and she will just pop off about how this person is clearly a moron who isn't paying attention. Now, with several hundreds of hours of streams, where she's essentially just whinging on about a random Rolodex of different contacts of people that have supposedly doxed her, swatted her, sexually harassed her, she can't offer any context. She will never cite her sources. She will never prove anything in real time. But if you're not paying attention, you're an idiot. And I think that in itself is indoctrination. If you're expected to sit through hours and hours and days of monotone dribbling, which provides no evidence whatsoever, by the way, before you're allowed to ask her a fucking question, that is some culty motherfucking bullshit. Now let's go ahead and talk about the good old threats to friends and family. Finally, we're talking about what makes Beth truly a dangerous individual, and that's that she wastes no time in attacking people and the people around them.
So I can give you the names and addresses of every single person that he's actually met and dated. And then you can attack them instead.
Many times she's threatened CPS, she's doxed people and therefore children. She has continued throughout to not give a shit about the safety of others, and that includes anyone who might have relations to those she sees as her enemies. And with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and throw some more examples on the screen for you to look through and tell me if you think it constitutes the last few of behavior control, including the kidnapping, beating, torture, rape, separation of family, imprisonment, and murder. And these, of course, are in the form of threats because she has not been able to accomplish these things, thankfully. But is that of lack of trying? Here we have her threatening to literally murder people. And the time she threatened someone because she accused them of threatening or insulting her child, but no one ever saw it happen and she never proved it. That time she told Kaylee, "I may come visit you this week, girl." A few more posts referencing her violent anger towards Kaylee. A recently found conversation where she was fantasizing about violently attacking me and Phoenix. And a recently found discussion where she says that she's going to swat myself and witchy things if we don't, quote, prove our kids are safe. Another conversation where she's having violent intentions towards Kaylee, who she thinks she knows where she lives, and then she says she's awaiting my dogs.
Honestly, I don't care. We should even start swatting these people's houses and see what happens. Maybe, well, if we're lucky, one of them will open the door with a gun and the cop will fucking fire at them. You should all be without your fucking kids. I'm gonna call CPS and all of you. West has motherfucking minors too. And you better not ever come back here to this city again, because I will make sure that several people run into you in real life. How about that? Booyah!
Next is information control. And right off the bat, we start off with Beth's biggest problem: deception. Deliberately withhold information, distort information to make it more acceptable, or systematically lie to the cult member. This is essentially what Beth does. Point blank. Beth lies. Beth lies about everything. Beth lies about everyone. There is no bar too low for Beth Gibbons. Beth will claim someone is a rapist with no proof.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Real Stream News is a rapist. I'm hand again. Motherfucker needs to know his place.
Beth will claim someone is a murderer with no proof. Beth will claim someone is a child abuser with no proof.
Attaching mom with kids, attacking mom with kids just to get some fucking donuts. Okay. Yeah, they mad because they could get to my kid. All these chomas mad they didn't not get to my kid, so they lie saying I don't have her in hopes that I will post so many pictures of her. They're fucking nasty. All you support this.
I'd go as far as to bet that Trevor isn't even a Native American, even though she keeps trying to say he is. Never mind that she's already established he is not an enrolled member of any tribe and can't even mention which tribe he's from.
Sorry, Wes, that I wouldn't let you fuck me in front of my white husband. Is that why you're mad? I don't understand.
It's your boy John Carlin.
That's why Suit was mad, I guess. He said he was half black.
Meanwhile, she wants to try to call black people racist POSs because her husband is a tribal member. Yeah, that's a thing. Thing is, though, this lie would be neither here nor there, except for that it is only in response to when she posts otherwise racist bullshit or when Trevor does.
Why, you got a problem with N not ending in a hard R? Alright, I'll tell you what, Wes. You'll take them out of your fucking rap songs first. Because I won't ever be out here singing along to a fucking rap song that has the N-word in it. And then be getting in trouble like James Charles.
Niggas be higher than I've ever seen. Them niggas be dumber than those SJW teens. Them niggas be completely obsessed with me. I can't really blame them. I'm all they got me when all they got is lean. Them niggas be higher than I've ever seen. Them niggas be
dumber than those SJW teens. Them niggas be completely obsessed with me. I can't really blame them. I'm off guard. All this nigga does is talks, and I come out with my block like. All these niggas do is talk. Step out with my block. Shut the fuck up. Feel like.
So let's look at the lie she's created now, that someone was faking the account when her husband came into my stream saying racist things and begging me to come to Canada.
And let's be honest, this faction of this lie only came about after she tried to hide behind her racial bigotry behind her own race, which is apparently French-Italian. The truth of it is no one hates her for her race, or for the fact that she's a woman, or for her having CPTSD, or her history of trauma, or her mental illness. These are all just red herrings to systematically lie to the cult members or audience, and to distort information to make it more acceptable. So if you're here and you're giving Beth the benefit of the doubt, I would like you to go ahead and reflect on what she has accused people of versus what she has proven. If her argument was simply, people are mean to her, I would agree with you. I really would. And in fact, there has even been times when I wholly disagree with how people have tackled the Queen of Spades situation. But that doesn't mean that anything she's ever said about these people is actually factual. That doesn't mean she's ever gotten a story correct. That doesn't mean she has a tight hold on the truth. And yes, people are mean to her. I'm mean to her. But the problem with looking at that at face value is you're not looking at the bigger picture, where Beth has gone from community to community to community, accusing people of actual crimes they did not commit. Essentially, if you give Beth the benefit of the doubt, you condemn everyone else she's ever accused of a crime, of that crime, even though she's never bothered to prove it.
We have no rules. Freedom of speech. I'm in Canada. Canada is a bit different when it comes to freedom of speech and attacks. People keep forgetting that. I have never ever actually called. I have threatened cops and child services on the people that have called on me, and I have brought kids into the drama of the people who endlessly bring my kid into drama. If you're gonna do it to me, then don't get upset when I give you a little piece of your own medicine. Because you guys did it to me for like 2 years before I was like, okay, all right, here we go. I'll do something back then. So remember that.
Some of these I'm going to go ahead and, for time's sake, leave to either being covered by later compartments or by her constant posting of things that never really get to the point and never really prove anything. And if you would like evidence of this, I'm going to go ahead and suggest you hit up down in the description, where I am going to post a link to a Google disk drive which will prove how much she can post in any given time. But one thing I do want to touch on briefly is Beth's use of spies. In fact, the first anti-MLM creator to ever approach me about the Beth situation was, in fact, her spy, as I later found out. For now, I'm not going to bother to out the person nor prove it, but I think that anti-MLM creators around me and listening will probably be able to figure out who that was, just based on that person's reputation. What I will throw on screen, however, is Beth's insistence that she not only has spies, but uses them often. And while a lot of these claims have been debunked over time, the point more remains that this is something that is in Beth's wheelhouse, and she will use it.
Especially in their Discord, which they thought was private, but I actually had access into it because not everyone is a sociopath. And
the last major facet when it comes to Beth and information control is indeed 6, unethical use of confession. A, information about sins used to disrupt and or dissolve identity boundaries. B. Withhold forgiveness or absolution. And C. Manipulation of memory, possible false memories. And I want to just say that this is something that Beth gets a little carried away with. Specifically, I want to talk about the dissolving of identity boundaries, which, whether or not in the use of confession, Beth is a big fan of. She likes to trauma dump similar traumas as the person she's talking to in an attempt to get their faith. She'll claim it's okay that she doxed Suit Yourself because of what he did, and she'll even admit she did it, but she won't admit the other doxes she did, even though we have all seen it in real time. She'll admit to threatening people in DMs with people. And if you apologize to her or try to make amends in any way, shape, or form, she'll of course just say that you're stalking her. How dare you even try to reach her? Then she'll produce lies about you on her community tab or some other similar platform she used to have where you could have no say without her having full control because she likes an echo chamber. And if she straight up lies about people or gets information wrong, well, it's not her fault, you see. She has CPTSD and it makes her forget things. Never mind that a trauma disorder would make you forget things that have to do with your trauma and not people just hanging out online trying to mind their own business. If Beth had an ultimate goal, it would have to be thought control, particularly when it comes to critical thinking skills for both her audience and her supposed haters. After all, really what this comes down to for Beth is finding a group of people that is willing to never criticize her, never ask her to prove anything, and just take everything she says at face value. And it shouldn't really surprise us that Beth really likes to require members to internalize her doctrine as truth, adopting the group's map of reality as reality, instill black and white thinking, decide between good and evil, and organize people into us versus them or insiders versus outsiders. Her map of reality is literally her narrative. And in order to be a friend of hers, you must never question it. There is seemingly never a time where she's not trying to instill black and white thinking of her good, everyone else who speaks against her bad. And she'll always use these terms of good and evil or right and wrong, instead of ever trying to navigate the gray area that is life. And when it comes to us versus them or insider versus outsider rhetoric, the truth of the matter is that's what Beth is looking for. She's looking for a group of people who will back her up no matter what she does. And that's why she's switched from loving RSN to TCAP and hating RSN to TCAP. And even recently she went from being so much into anti-MLM that she could state that you must be a bad person to work against the community if you spoke out against her in any regard, including leaving a comment on her YouTube channel. But now she has switched gears because she has a new following of people that is willing to listen to her that is anti-MLM. And so she's done yet another 180 of communities simply because she did not get her way. The next section is to change a person's name and identity, and I was originally going to leave this out in its entirety, but there is something about this that rings true when it comes to how she misrepresents her haters on a consistent level. False accusations aside, there are often times when she will intentionally change someone's name when she's addressing them. She'll claim the only reason they're attacking her is because they're part of some group. She'll misrepresent someone's belief structure to the point of bigotry. Almost more notable, however, are the changes in the persona of Trevor, arguably her biggest victim. Not only is there the aforementioned racial changes in Trevor, but everything about him seems to change on Beth's whim.
With my attentive husband and myself being a good mom.
Beth had to sit her husband down and explain who RSN and everybody was, but then later she said that she was separated before she ever talked to CJ. Her and her husband were separated at the time her and RSN were talking, but at the same time, if her husband found out that her and RSN were talking, she would be dead. Hell, her practically perfect in every way husband didn't even believe her when she was sexually harassed in an elevator. And when she had her suicide cry, he apparently said she should have just done it. What a guy. But it doesn't just end there, because he used to be Leafer01. However, progressively, his name has gotten more and more emasculated. In the aftermath of her embarrassing and public breakup with Realstream News, she had her husband change his name to King of Stream. Never mind the fact that he legitimately never streamed. He did, however, have several videos of him opening Pokemon trading cards. The thing about that, however, is now he is named Treasure Baby, her pet name for him, and it seems all his videos have been taken down and the account exists solely to promote and comment on Beth's channel. And finally, in thought control, we come to number 3, which is the use of loaded language and cliches which constrict knowledge, stop critical thoughts, and reduce complexities into platitudinous buzzwords. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know where to start here. I couldn't figure it out, because the truth is there is a huge heaping pile of these. The truth is, I have a hard time pinpointing a time when Beth doesn't try to reduce her opposition to a kernel, that way she can just sweep it aside. The most basic, fundamental, cliche version of itself. Her haters, like me and Heather, are of course hating her because we're witches and want her to become a witch. When it comes to anti-vaxxers, she just starts making out about how they are all thinking they're gonna get the tism without looking at the bigger picture. And when it comes to issues with other creators, she never looks at the issue as itself. It's either drama, as for drama's sake, or it is them attacking her. So in an attempt to not drive myself insane, coming up with a huge megalith of lists of different edgy buzzwords she uses, I decided to go ahead and make this next segment, which I hope will encapsulate her overall attitudes towards speaking in extremes and working away from the actual issue and instead focusing on big buzzwords that's either going to garner sympathy or views a lot of the time. So I hope you will enjoy it.
I'm just a stay-at-home mom that makes YouTube videos for fun and tries to make friends, but they end up sucking. So,
Hi, victims. I want to be taken seriously and accepted by, everyone in the anti-MLM community, of course. Especially the top people. I really want to be accepted by the top. You want to hash this all up, bitch? Okay, drama in this community, okay? You want to know who's doing all the drama in this community? It's all these bitches.
It's been an issue even with the Onision victims and anyone that said anything against Hansen.
Chris Hansen scam, drama.
Real tea.
You're not going to kick me off of doing anti-MLM YouTube.
On
Drama, anti-MLM community, and haters attacking my child. Because I have to ignore her to talk about drama. Or CPS. Because of all the drama in our community.
swatting and doxing.
All the drama is
Them vaccines give people the tism.
Queen's getting doxed, Queen's getting swatted, people are fucking attacking her that are anti-vaxxers and fucking anti-MLMers.
SWAT and dogs. Everybody that
Hi, I'm a new anti-MLM creator.
Cancel culture.
SWAT and dogs and call CAS on
Cancel culture to harass and trigger someone with actual PTSD?
They all drama. They're all doing drama in the community.
She's tired of being harassed. So
doing anti-MLM on YouTube.
Well, everybody here is drama, The anti-MLM community. The Hansen scam and all
This anti-MLM community, please.
You're one of the people that tried to silence me.
Gaslighting that to cancel me.
Me, someone in the anti-MLM community,
Attack a child.
dogs and
drama.
completely tired of being harassed.
I run this community.
Calling cops on them. Calling children's services on them.
This is harassment.
Hashtag cancel. Cancel culture, people, go.
The geek room, lolcows.
I was the target.
So this is harassment.
Bullying and harassment. That
Just one person being drama. And Regina and all the Hanson people. My drama is always because I don't want to attack people.
The rest of these bitches all chased clouds.
Docs.
false CAS calls are not good to do to someone.
Professor and all of them call CAS and cops on me more in the anti-MLM community.
Spur gold.
All of the drama, when this drama all popped off, the first Dramageddon, bunch of fucking drama.
Rape allegations.
We gonna cancel culture!
Harassed.
Or Hanson, or Jesse, and quite frankly, if you want to hook up with him, and Lola, and Hanson, and Valkyrie, and Kaylee, and all these psychos,
Been assaulted.
deep diving Chris Hansen, deep... Someone tells me I'm drama.
Toxic.
Cults? I was being attacked by another group of people, and I was being attacked by people within our community for not attacking people. The top of the anti-MLM community.
I've been getting threats on Twitter.
He was harassed. And
You're helping people out of scams and cults, including religious ones, and you're on your claiming to be an atheist YouTuber starting bullshit drama.
I didn't even have 200 subs and I was being bullied to cancel people.
I went into Mrs. Parker's community, which I don't understand why this woman ever started with me. I talk about cults and
Many people are threatening to dox me, and
I've been harassed like crazy.
you know, drunken peasants and the geek room.
and unless you have a minimum of 2,000 subscribers, your opinion in this does not matter.
Religious cults.
The harassment.
You all judge me for being drama. All have to stop obsessing over me.
Small YouTuber talking about Onision.
I was hanging out in her community.
I have been dealing with harassment from those people for
Bad people in her community. And we just threatened me. I was supposed to be the one that was taken to court.
Chris Hansen's.
You all gaslight me. You all try to shut me up. I got attacked.
harassment.
Anti-Onision.
Hanson is also a scam artist.
Cancel me for trolling.
All of you and your drama.
Your community has doxed me, swatted me, harassed me.
Cops for
Blasting drama all over the fucking internet. And
Like low-key, going off about me. Doxed.
I need a lot of that.
false cop calls.
there's drama on the internet.
Cancelled.
Drama community.
I am a tenth of his size.
I was supposed to be the one attacked.
Cancel culture.
Anti-mlm videos.
Threatened me. Who
Drama attacked me for this community.
Harm me.
I didn't want to hash it up, but you know. You wanted to hash it up, bitch!
Control your community.
And if I'm going to be honest with you, after that, the rest of this list starts to look a little redundant. Between what we've seen in video clips and screenshots, we can see that she does do a lot of the things mentioned. And I remind you that to fit the B.I.T.E model, someone does not need to fit all the criteria of the B.I.T.E model. It is just astounding how many of these things we can check off the list nonetheless. So on the off chance I'm just taking things out of context and I'm just blowing things out of proportion, I thought I would give you the one chat Beth and I have ever had in actual voice chat. I want you to see how she takes upfront questions and goes and uses different means to try to change the subject or make something more manageable. And honestly, the gross thing she says when she is faced with critical thinking is pretty akin to chanting or speaking in tongues, if you ask me.
And that you all like really wanted to be my friend, and I didn't want to be your guys' friend, and now you want to know every single little thing about my life, like every guy I ever kissed, every guy I ever banged, every guy that I ever spoke to.
What?
So yeah.
I'm just waiting. You know, you said I'm helping Negs and RSN and Marie and all of them do all this shit, but where's it at?
That's not what I said. I said
That is exactly what you said on your video.
It's what she says.
It's exactly what you said on your video. I helped them do that.
like you, and I will still say that's what she's saying about you.
Well, Valkyrie, why are you so obsessed with me? I'm pretty sure that you're in love with me because you want to know everything about me. Okay, like I'm not even.
Wait, why are you so obsessed with me?
Oh my
You sound
God,
so stupid.
Valkyrie, please stop
You
talking about the internet. Why do you want to know everything about me?
I don't know why you take a picture.
I know you want to know what I did in 2005 so bad. I know that you fapped to me every single night and everything I do and every guy I was with.
I can't hear over here mocking us. So you just obviously talk shit.
Obsessed bitches. All these bitches are obsessed with me and my life. They don't like it when I tell them to fuck off. That's all it is. All right. What do you want, Valkyrie?
Why do you have my child's face up on
Why do you have an entire album of my child? Why do you share screenshots of my bitch? You just shared one on Twitter the other day. Why are you such a pedo for my kid? Stop posting pictures of my kid. Why you just hanging with groomers, you fucking pedo?
I don't know. Why you just fucking rude?
Stop being a pedo, Valkyrie, and obsessing over my child. Your husband don't want to have a threesome with you.
What do
We
you
don't want it. We
mean?
told you that we don't want to have a threesome with any of you. Jesus.
You're delusional. You're completely and obsessively
Oh my God, what did Queen do in 2005? Maybe you should go check.
Oh, maybe I don't even give a shit. Maybe
Oh my God, why did you write a whole subreddit on it in my journal? We want to know everything about Queen. We're not going to leave her alone until she talks to
How are
us.
you supposed to have a valid argument with a child like this? Are you done, Queen? You gonna
Are
grow
you all
the fuck up?
fucking dumb? You're the ones all sitting around fucking playing with your clits collecting every single thing I've ever done in my life. I don't give a fuck about what you did yesterday, let alone 2005.
You literally posted
You want to know your ex-boyfriends? No. Do you know all mine? Do you have a list of them up somewhere? Yes. I don't even think my ex-boyfriends would want to fuck you, Valkyrie. I'm sorry, you're too fat.
Everyone already agrees I'm prettier than you.
Homie, I would not talk about weight because when you were fucking pregnant, you were.
Oh my God, I lost that weight, bitch. What's your excuse, Val? What's your excuse, Valk?
I've always been
Is this really a competition over who's prettier than you? Like, what are you doing here? You opened up the subreddit because you were so jealous of me that you had to prove to everyone you were prettier than me? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, speaking
If
of
I was trying to be prettier, I wouldn't be trying to be prettier all the time.
Why'd you put Belle's address and shit on subreddit?
I didn't put Belle's address on a subreddit. You already admitted to that.
So, well,
I didn't know what people said it was until 2 months later, so you know. Let's post her own address up when she shared a receipt
So,
for the tow truck, and already blamed Deity and Shiloh for doxing her. And then she blamed this person and that person and the other person and then me. So,
You dox Heather's kid?
I didn't dox Heather's kid? No.
Giving the address of a child that is under the custody in that fucking address is doxing a child.
Actually, it's not her address because she called CAS on me and gave her address, and they gave it to me so I could do the report on it.
We don't do that.
They did when you guys called them 10 times, you morons! They do! I'm in Canada, and they definitely do. As soon as I get I'm building a case of harassment against you.
Oh, really? If you're doing a case, why are you talking to us then? Because that completely ruins the
Because she
case.
doesn't have a little case.
Because you won't leave me alone until I do. You literally can't actually talk to me even though I'm clearly the one talking to you and I'm the crazy one, right?
You legit just wrote about me like an hour ago, and you want to talk about harassment? Do you even know the laws? If you are filing harassment on someone, you cannot contact, write anything about them. So you're a dumbass motherfucker. There's no case on us. Exactly. Keep your mouth shut. Exactly.
How about you prove I've ever said I called CPS on you? I have proof you said you called CPS on me.
That music's really loud, though, to be honest.
Hey, Beth, why don't you get a job?
There she is again.
You're gonna take care of my kid as my job? Why don't you get a job? Oh, he had to get Hassan a job because he's such a piece of shit he couldn't get his own job. Yeah, my man works, he got his own job.
Okay, and what's the so? Who cares who has a
Why
job?
don't you go back to my subreddit and stick up for people that sexually assaulted me, Valk? Why don't you go do that?
So why are you best friend with H-Bomb, who's a pedophile? That's been convicted.
Well, I did it. I streamed with him one time, Raina, and you're obsessed with it. You were there as much as I was, Raina. You were in those chats as much as I was.
No, I wasn't. I was never around when H-Bomb was around.
What about Mark? What about that guy you wrote about in your live journal saying that he had a minor suck him off and you were kind of weirded about it, but you still liked him a lot?
Yikes.
What about that one?
No, her internet went out again.
Oh, yeah. And more like her brain went out.
So much for your husband working because he can't pay the goddamn Wi-Fi.
Oh, or maybe if she's home all day, she could call the fucking internet company and get them to fix it.
Oh, shit.
And yes, if you're wondering, I am tired of speaking on this subject and didn't really know where to start, so I thought she'd do the work for me. But I also hope that by giving you a video explanation on her kind of behavior, you can also see what I'm talking about when I post screenshots of these rants. These are the kinds of jumps she makes in real time. The last one was a doozy, and it would be a lie to say that emotional control won't as well. This is another one where it seems to me that most things on the list can be easily checked off. I think a lot of what we'll see here is Beth's defense mechanisms, and when we're talking about emotional control, I think what we're really talking about is just emotional manipulation. She runs to this at almost every turn. So let's go ahead and go through each one and return to the classic method of finding the evidence that at least is an example of that behavior. 1. Manipulate and narrow the range of feelings. Some emotions and or needs are deemed as evil, wrong, or selfish. I found what feels like a good example of this in actually a very recent stream of hers. In her 2K subscriber party celebration thingy, she actually went to her subreddit and talked about a guy who was clearly taken aback by Beth's comment on a video about him. And it seems like pretty much she's telling him that he can't be upset that there's a video on him because there's videos on her. But while you watch this, I want you to pay attention to the comment she wrote and then couple it with what she's saying.
And I'm the only one that's allowed to be called out in this community here? Okay? You must never call out anyone else. That's very, very bad. Everyone else is absolutely perfect. The other people in the community are like, we're perfect. We don't do anything wrong, ever. What do you mean? And then they go dox people. Go call CAS on people. Go do all this really fucked up shit to people behind the scenes. And then they come on here with their white backgrounds and their makeup and they go, I'm perfect and I don't do anything wrong. And then these people have 50,000 subscribers and they're crying about people that don't even have 1,000 subscribers talking to them, okay? And I just can't. If you're gonna play victim out here, at least play victim to a channel larger than yours, would ya? Okay, if you got 50,000 subscribers out here and you got someone with less than 1,000 talking about you and you can't just ignore it? Author Ian Schroth, why do you need to talk to them? As in the people that are calling us out? Like, why do we all need to go to these people's channels? So if someone's calling you out and you're sending all your subs there, like they're an army for you, okay? You're in the wrong. Fuck off with that shit. Your subscribers aren't here to be your personal army for your dramas on the internet. I don't care that they're talking out about my community. Unlike all of you, for me, it's the principle. I have actual morals and values. And my issue is that these are all the same people that told me to calm down when I had worse people talking about me with way more subs. When I had no subs. You can't just intimidate people. Who are you, Dina? Oh, wait, she's in that subreddit and she hangs out with you. So I guess that's probably who you learned it from, wasn't it? The girl that goes around threatening to dox everybody's personal information if they make her mad. What the fuck, dude? Grow up, Ian. All of you have turned this community into cancel culture and hate mobs, and it's gone too far. We don't want that in anti-MLM. So he went and posted it in a hate mob subreddit of people that are just mad that, once again, I don't think that this behavior should be going on. I don't think you should hang out with, people like DJ Axel either. But
for the record, I have no idea who DJ Axel is. And also, if Dina is in the subreddit, I actually don't know who she is. Because regardless of what Beth says, we're not all actually buddy-buddy. It's just a place to dump your screenshots. Which is essentially what she's reacting to here, is people needing to throw up screenshots. Which I question anyone who has an issue with evidence. That's the kind of thing that worries people with things to hide. Number 2 didn't seem like something I could easily prove. And then number 3 didn't seem like something that was worth my time because it's just a given. What I find far more compelling is number 4, and that's mostly because these are all things that I feel like she's done to me specifically, and I feel like if she's done them to me, she's probably done them to you, if you're someone who's ever crossed paths with her and had the misfortune of telling her something she didn't want to hear, and thus you ensued her wrath in some form. I remind you that these are all things that are supposed to be towards the cult member, and I am probably the furthest thing from. Nonetheless, it stands out to me that she absolutely does go after identity guilt. Not too long ago, you heard Beth comment on my weight, but not only that, she goes after my spirituality quite often in the form of going after pagans or witchcraft in general. Granted, she doesn't really know enough about the subject to land any major insults, but she tries nonetheless. During the first year of the pandemic, I homeschooled my sister, and she's taken every opportunity to make a mockery of the whole homeschooling system. I could even argue her whole anti-SJW thing is because very early on she assumed I was one. B, not living up to your potential also could be applied, as Beth likes to comment on my art and how I'm not living up to my potential when it comes to it. When it comes to C, your family is deficient, this also rings true, as Beth likes to talk about everything from my finances to my relationship, going as far as one time as saying that my man left me and all I had was goats left? Bro, tell me how you feel about me getting the goats in the breakup.
Devastated. I paid for them.
I know, right?
Why would you get them?
You're per capita. My goats. It was quite strange. She's claimed my past as suspect, which is D, several times, ranging from just vague scopes of saying that I have a history to affiliating me with the Amber Todd case, which I barely knew of before she mentioned it all the time, to just broad scope insinuations that I had something to do with some sort of child predator. Which fits us nicely into E, your affiliations are unwise. You'll notice that Beth likes to name drop. She'll name drop friends, she'll name drop enemies, she'll put people together that have nothing to do with each other in long rants about how they're all working together against her. And that ultimately comes down to the same thing. When she says that I'm working with so-and-so and this and that to do whatever, what she's essentially saying is that I'm working with bad people. And whether or not the people she says are accurate to people I hang out with, the context and the situation is not true. Next is F. Your thoughts, feelings, actions are irrelevant or selfish. And really, this is what she's saying when she calls me obsessed and a stalker, or implies that I'm doing things for RSN, or that one time she referred to me as illiterate. I feel like G's social guilt is really encompassed by the same thing as E in this case. But it also can come down to that whole kind of insinuation that I'm trying to force her into my spirituality, and that's not accurate whatsoever. I want her as far away from my spirituality as physically possible. And when it comes to historic guilt, I'm just going to leave a pin in that last statement because she had a whole ass video because she hates pagans so much, i.e. myself, witchy things, and Bells of Nevermore at this point, that she made an anti-pagan video essentially, which only encompassed the Salem witch trials as the fundamental of the pagan religion, which is ridiculous on just face value. But that's essentially how she got Heather's attention, and Heather debunked her video, which is why she thinks we're all working together, is because she thinks all pagans are working together, and I still don't know what this has to do with the Salem witch trials, but she brought it up. I'm going to forego number 5 in this case, because I think it's going to be covered mostly by number 8, and I would hate to bore you more than I'm sure I have. But number 6 is fun. Extremes of emotional highs and lows, love bombing and praise one moment, and then declaring you are a horrible sinner. So the thing is, Beth does this a lot, but let's go ahead and take a look at just Savannah Marie.
Oh, Savannah, I'm so sorry. It's an awful screen cap. This isn't my fault, I promise. It's just the beginning of her video. I love you.
What?
What indeed, because it did not take long for instead Beth to be looking at comments by Savannah Marie and be calling her a gaslighter.
All this gaslighting is just beautiful.
Hashtag anti-mlm. Hashtag drama. Hashtag Savannah Marie. I have already been attacked by people larger than you, so I am not intimidated by your subscribers. I am sorry that I had drama and trauma caused to me by the same people, then you will continuously bring it up. Also, apparently, the community I came to in order to help me from being a MLM victim says I play victim, trauma disorder, or play victim. Why can everyone attack me and I am not allowed to speak out again? You, Savannah, and CC started with me. Then you all turned around and played victim to the MLM police doing to you what you do to me? What the fuck? So let's talk about it again because we have comprehension issues on here, I guess. These mean girls. I got Regina George in my comment section with her whole crew. Do I have permission?
Which I'll give it to Beth. That is a good description of the video. And is it me, or is the first person to say mean girl usually the mean girl? When it comes to number 7, the ritualistic and sometimes public confession of sins, I'll give you these 2 testimonies by Beth of the same incident and let you review them yourself.
Now, I'm not an innocent bitch in this at all. I will tell you right now, I myself wrote Amber Clements a message, or a few messages, and told her that if she is lying about these allegations in any way, she needs to step forward, because you can't wrongfully accuse somebody.
As we come to the close of emotional control, as well as the B.I.T.E model as a whole, we end up on phobia indoctrination. Inculcating irrational fears about leaving the group or questioning the leader's authority. A. No happiness or fulfillment possible outside the group. B. Terrible consequences if you leave. Hell, demon possession, incurable diseases, accidents, suicide, insanity, 10,000 reincarnations, etc. C. Shunning of those who leave, fear of being rejected by friends and family. D. Never legitimate reason to leave. Those who leave are weak, undisciplined. And whether Beth is inculcating irrational or perfectly rational fears, I actually want to leave you with not much evidence on this one. I want you, the viewer, to look at the evidence. Maybe do a rewatch, or seek out a drive, or other people's videos, or even forget about it entirely until she comes for your community next. So when it comes to the proof of this, I will leave you with only one clip from Queen herself.
Contact your friends on your social media, they contact your family, they will start writing your subscribers and your followers, they will call police on you and make false police reports knowing that they are false. They will call Child Protective Services or Children's Aid Society, depending on where you live, and they will make known false claims.
So tell me, dear viewer, what do you think? Is this normal stay-at-home mom behavior? Is this normal internet behavior? Is this normal adult behavior? Is this the behavior you would want to see in an advocate for your beliefs? Is this behavior that should be platformed on larger channels that are supposed to be about protecting the consumer and being an advocate? Am I just some crazy obsessed stalker, or am I someone that's been collecting evidence for myself and others for literal years, as Beth has done nothing but attack me and others in a way that is absolutely disgusting? But then again, maybe Val is crazy. I'd like this to be the last video I make on Beth, which is not to say I expect her to ever stop. Beth has been my own personal hell. I feel like Sisyphus, day by day, rolling logic and evidence up some bloody hill, only to be met with it rolling back down, some conspiracy coming up, and I have to do it all over again. And I'm so freaking tired. I'm really, really tired. Which is probably, honestly, why this video took 1.5 years to make. But I always say that whatever video I'm working on, I want to be my last video on the subject of Beth Gibbons. And every time I've said it, it's been true. That doesn't make me a liar, it makes me woefully optimistic. So I just want to thank everyone who watched, and I hope you will come to your own conclusions regarding both Beth and myself. And when it comes down to it, I want to leave you with these parting words. In any group there is extremists. Always have evidence for what you're accusing, and never ever say anything on the internet that you aren't willing to face on a public platform. Thank you very much.